What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. My name is Corey, and today in the stock market we saw more selling, but we are starting to hit some of the downside price targets. So from here, it's either a strong bounce or we're more than likely going to start seeing capitulation. First up, let's take a look at the S&P 500 SPY ETF. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so today in SPY we were down 1.59% and we did hit the downside price target at 393, closing just a quarter below that level, and we are at very strong support. So I'm now going to throw some of the Corey contrarians for a wild ride because a lot of you were getting bullish around this time that I was getting bearish, saying that it's time to buy because Corey's bearish. Well, now I'm going to get bullish at this support level, so hopefully you contrarians are doing very well trying to get bullish in a downtrend. However, if there was ever going to be a time to be a contrarian and starting to get bullish, it is going to be now, because even though capitulation is a real possibility, I do not think we are going to capitulate at this point in the market. Now, if we do capitulate, that is going to require SPY breaking down below the 390s, and we will have that price target all the way down there right around 370, and that is going to be the target for capitulation. So if we start seeing that waterfall wave of selling and we start losing this support and you see huge high volume selling as we continue to flush lower, you will want to stay risk off until we get to SPY levels of 370. Now, the reason I think now is the time to start being a contrarian bull is because we did hit the price targets, so we have satisfied at least the minimum requirement for a bounce at this point. We have now been selling off for 6 weeks in a row, and we are getting extremely oversold on all time frames. And if you jump over to the fear and greed indicator, we are now at extreme fear readings with a reading of 20 points. So if you are going to be a contrarian, it is now or never, because we are either going to see a very strong bounce off of these support zones, or we are going to start getting the full-blown capitulation. So if you're a risk taker, now is the time to consider taking on risk to the long side. Obviously, we're still in a very strong downtrend, and we're very likely in a bear market, as we can see in the NASDAQ 100. Even though we haven't yet had the 20% drawdown in the S&P 500, it could be right around the corner. So if we do start to bounce from here, you're still looking for resistance right around 400 to 405, and then all the way up here right around 420. So if we start clearing this zone around 405, it is very likely going to be a very quick bounce up to the 420s and possibly even as high as about 428. Now, that doesn't mean the market is bullish just because we get a bounce. You should be treating everything as a lower high before we make a brand new lower low, as long as we have the downtrend. So just to recap, I think now is the time to be considering going against the trend in the short term as long as we're above 390. But if we start breaking below 390, you need to take the loss because we could be coming all the way down to 370. If we start to bounce and we break out above 405, you want to let it run and possibly let it run all the way up to about 420. So that's my contrarian viewpoint, which I am giving you just because we hit the price target. And I do believe that the market likes to operate very technically. And so far, this has been a very technical correction in SPY. We had a very large corrective structure, which easily counts into a 3-wave structure. And that 3-wave structure does have the possibility to bottom out right around this zone. So it's risk on until we break below 390. And that is exactly how I would play the market at this point. If you're still trying to short the market at this level, that's not a great risk reward setup, but it could be very handsomely rewarded in the event that we do see capitulation. But just keep in mind that capitulation is not a guarantee. And even though it does happen very often to put in market bottoms, there is nothing that says that we have to capitulate. Jumping over to the NASDAQ 100 triple Qs, we were down 2.97% today, and the triple Qs are very close to getting to the price target at 284.7. But if we start to see SPY bouncing off support at the 393 zone, there's no guarantee the triple Qs have to go any lower. We did see a little bit of increase in the volume today, and we are getting very oversold, and we're still trading right around the lower Bollinger Band. And as you can tell, this is starting to look like a waterfall down, even though this is not yet capitulation. Capitulation would likely take us down to the price target at 284.7, but likely go a little bit farther and hit this target right around 276.8. So watch those two targets to the downside if we continue to sell off. But I would not be surprised in the slightest if we start to see a very impulsive bounce from here. So watch for resistance right around 297 and 305. And if we break above 305, we'll likely come all the way back up to about 318. 318 would be the lower high before we make that next lower low. Otherwise, we're getting the bullish breakout above 318 and coming back into the 330s and possibly even 340s, where there is going to be a lot of bears waiting to short the market at those levels. So remember, it's a downtrend until it's not. And even though I'm giving you a contrarian viewpoint, you still need to follow price action. So in the triple Qs, if we start breaking to new lows below 290, you're looking for these two price targets below, with the bullish breakouts that I just gave you at 305 and 318. On the Dow Jones, I did draw an arrow of exactly when we would expect to get there, which would be closer to the end of the month. So there is still the possibility we get some type of lower high before we get to that price target and put in the next lower low. Obviously, there's a possibility we do reach that capitulation and just go straight down there without a bounce. So that will be the target you're looking for possible support and your price target to the downside as long as we have the downtrend. Resistance levels will be right around 322.6 and 326, and if we break above 326, you're looking for a trip all the way back up to 333. All of the bears will be hiding out at 340, so if we get to 340, that will be the most critical resistance. So watch these resistance levels if we do start to see a bounce in the short term, otherwise you're expecting to see downside price targets at 310. On the Russell 2000, we were down about 2.5% today, and we did see selling on increasing volume, and we're very close to hitting our price target and closing the gap at 165.7. That's our downside price target, but if we break below that level, you're looking for the full-blown capitulation on a quick trip down to 156. If we bounce in the short term, you're looking for resistance right around 178 and 183, and we're getting a lot more bullish if we can start breaking back above the 190s, getting back above 200 and closing above 205. And you really need to be patient and not become bullish in IWM until we see some type of bullish breakout, because this is a very strong downtrend just like you're seeing in ARKK, and we could continue to go lower before we go any higher. So watch these downside price targets, otherwise you're looking for resistance on a bounce at those critical resistance zones. On the ARKK ETF, we were down over 10% today, and this really shouldn't be shocking to you because we are seeing full-blown capitulation in this ETF. It's very evident because we're seeing high volume selling and we're just going down in a straight line. So it is very likely we're going to reach full-blown capitulation in the ARKK ETF very soon, and that price target for capitulation is down here at 33.7. Remember, when you're seeing this high volume selling and just nothing but red candles printing day after day, and you're getting extremely oversold and still going lower, that is because everybody is running for the door and nobody wants to buy this ETF. So I continue to tell you, do not get bullish on this ETF until it can go into a bull trend, because there's no telling how low it's going to go. You're looking for bullish breakouts at this point all the way back above 52 and closing above around 58. And if we do get that bullish breakout, that will be a different story, but you don't want to get bullish until we see confirmation with the price action. So continue to expect that downside price target at 33.7. And if we do start to bounce from there, we'll need to be very cautious on getting bullish because we'll need to see higher highs and higher lows. On the VIX, we were down 1.3% today. So we did see the VIX heading lower on a day the stock market was selling off. And overall, I do believe that is a bullish development. We didn't see the VIX spiking into the high volatility range and getting up to the price target at 38, even though we did see the market selling off. And even though you could argue it's coming and it just hasn't happened yet, we still haven't seen any evidence that the VIX wants to break out above 35. So there is a real possibility we are putting in a very important local bottom in the stock market, which could lead to a very impulsive counter trend rally. Remember though, as long as the VIX is above 30, you still want to remain very cautious and don't get too over leveraged to the long side on a speculation. There's nothing wrong with being a contrarian, but you still need to have proper risk management and you still need to respect the fact that the VIX is above 30. On Bitcoin, we're currently down nearly 9%, and Bitcoin is at that very critical support zone at 28,000 as we continue to see capitulation in the crypto market. Remember, I told you this is a very strong support zone, so this would be the area that I would be taking on risk in Bitcoin. However, if we do continue to go lower, you're looking for Bitcoin to go all the way down to $20,000. That will require a decisive break below this support zone at 28,000 because I do think there will be a lot of buyers in this zone. Look for the possibility of a quick fake out to the downside, so you will want to be paying attention to the closing prices, and as long as we continue to close above 28,000, there is a real possibility we develop a bullish support here that we can bounce from. So expect to see 20,000 if we break down, and to the upside, you're not getting bullish until we break back above 37,000 and then get back above 42,000. On Nvidia stock, we were down about 5.5% today as Nvidia did put in a new daily low as we continue to go lower in this bear market, and we still have that outstanding price target to the downside at 150. It's very likely we could hit that price target before we go any higher, and I do think that is very likely going to be the bottom in this stock, but we don't know for sure, so we will need to follow the price action once we get there. You're not getting bullish until we get back above 210, and you're looking for resistance on the way there at 179, 184, and 199. On Tesla stock, we were down 8.25% as Tesla did slice down through that support at 762, and we did close below the lower Bollinger Band, so we are getting extremely oversold at this level. We have the bear trend, which we already knew, and we're below 900, so we knew to be risk off. So at this point, breaking below 762 means we're more than likely coming down to retest the low at 700. If we break below 700, you gotta look out below because we could be going a lot lower. And this is definitely a bearish breakdown, breaking down below 762, so you need to be very cautious. Resistance at this point will be 762, 828, and 856, and you're not getting bullish until we get all the way back above $900. On Apple stock, we were down just over 5% today, and we did break down to new lows, closing down below 147, and we are getting a little too oversold below the lower Bollinger Band. The next support level, if we continue to close below 147, will be down here at 142, and you're not getting bullish until we get all the way back above 162 and start closing back above 166. As you can tell, there's a lot of bearish price action and bear trends in the market. So remember, you're being contrarian if you're getting bullish at these levels because there is nothing in the price action or the trends that tell us to be bullish. So on Apple stock, there's a high probability we're coming down to 142, or we're going to get that oversold bounce in the short term and find resistance right around one of these resistance zones. So look for resistance right around 147, 150, and 156. And we could bounce as high as about 160 to 162 before finding resistance. On the financial sector, we were down 0.92% as we continue to see bearish price action with the strong bear trend, and a bearish financial sector is never good news for the stock market. On the industrial sector, we were down 0.91% with the bearish price action and the bear trend, so there's no reason to be bullish on the industrials at this point. The healthcare sector was down 0.66%, and we still have the bear trend and we still have the bearish price action. The energy sector was up 1.34% intraday, but we failed to close above 78, and we do see a very large wick above this candle, so we could still be heading lower from here. So jumping back over to the S&P 500, while I do believe this is the time to be a bullish contrarian, you still need to have great risk management and you need to be very risk off if we start breaking below 390. I never suggest going against the trend for a long term, so even if we get a bounce, you're still looking to exit for a profitable long trade on a lower high, and you should be expecting to see another lower low. If we start getting bullish price action confirmation and we reverse the bear trend, then we can get a lot more bullish in the longer term. But right now, I continue to tell you this is a downtrend until it's not, and there's still the possibility we could be going lower even if we start to bounce in the short term. While there is a real possibility of capitulation, I don't necessarily think we're at the point where we're going to see capitulation. So while it is a real possibility, I wouldn't be putting too much emphasis on the possibility we're about to crash from here. Also, don't forget that I do have Bank Trade Alerts, which is an algorithm-driven trade alert service that only trades the ETF TQQQ and sends you all of your buy and sell alerts directly via email and text message. Even in the bear market of 2008, when the market was losing over 30% that year, Bank Trade Alerts beat the market and had a very positive return. If you're looking for more information or want to subscribe, you can click on the link in the description of this video. I also have the Stocks Channel Discord where I do intraday updates and analysis and bring new trade ideas to you weekly. If you're interested in joining the Stocks Channel Discord server, you can find out how to join by clicking on the link below. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you're crushing this market. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.